All right, we should be good. Should be good. Shoot, this is 11 at night, less than an hour before midnight. Hey, but Friday night, gotta record for this week, so it's all good. But getting out the way, hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Debates. I'm your co-host Dibo, again doing another solo show for this episode. Matt unfortunately could not make it on here as he had some family things to attend to. He is going to be out of town for this weekend. So, yeah, just like a lot of other things that happened with him around this summer, man, it's been very busy. So, all love to my brother. Hopefully, we can join together soon to come on here and record, whether it's virtual or in person. But it is his business. He got his own things to attend to. And, it's all love from here. So, hopefully, my boy Matt will be back with you guys real soon, man. But for right now, it's going to be me once again, the one and only, the one you've been loving for all of these episodes, previous ones. So, yeah, man, show must go on regardless. Um, Also, quick thing for these next 2 weeks, it's going to be recorded and most likely posted on the same day, Friday, again for these next 2 weeks, is because of the internship that I'm about to, you know, partake in. With that, obviously, it's going to be very time consuming. A lot of energy from myself is going to be put towards that. So, with that being said, Friday or Saturday, well, Friday mainly, I completely contradicted myself. But Friday, I will say Friday is the day where I'm going to have probably the most free time out of these next 2 weeks. So yeah, that's what the posting schedule is going to be like for this short term. Also with NFL not really being around the corner, but it's the time where it's just like, excuse me, people are fiending for highlights, news clips, stuff like that. So we're gonna get into more NFL based content in these next couple of weeks with the season um, not too far away from us. We have one major segment today involving Brandon Aiyuk, his trade request. So we're gonna talk about that. So a quick heads up for you guys. As well. But announcements, other stuff being put aside, looking at this agenda for this episode, we're going to get into NBA talk with the All Star weekend happening right now and Rookie of the Year race, obviously, between Kalen Clark and Angel Reese. We're going to get into that as well. Just mainly WNBA talk about, again, Rookie of the Year, All Star weekend, if we get to that. Also, with the new media deal being reported for the league as well. So, basically basketball stuff, like women's basketball, WNBA as a whole, to kick this off. And moving along, we will talk about Russell Westbrook heading to the Denver Nuggets, a big move that happened recently this week, and NFL stuff. Finally, like I said before, we will talk about Brandon Aiyuk requesting a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. And with our main segment, which you probably have read the title already. We are going to discuss NBA superstars, and we're going to put them in tiers. I have another tier ranking video related to last week when we talked about NBA teams, but instead we're going to talk about individual players. So that's the whole rundown as of right now. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited watching this video. And yeah, man, let's get into it. So, for the WNBA, to kick things off, They're currently in their Olympic break. The last games happened this past Wednesday, and Friday night, we just witnessed the skills competition and 3-point shootout go down. Shout out Lisa Gray for winning both of those competitions. She became the first player in WNBA history to win both the competitions on the same night. So salute to her. She did her part. And for the main event tomorrow, we are going to have the WNBA All-Star game happening in Phoenix. Now for this year, it's a little bit of a twist, obviously with the Olympics less than a week from now. That's just surprising to just say. I can't believe we're so close to it actually happening. Like I looked it up today, and I realized that it's gonna be starting next week. That's just crazy to think about. But again, the Olympics are going to be starting, and in Olympic years, the WNBA and their All Star game it has a twist. And for this year, it is going to be Team WNBA, the non-Olympians versus Team USA. So that's going to be a very fun and entertaining game to witness. I'm going to tune in and watch the whole game. Hopefully, a lot of you guys will tune in. I'm expecting a lot of people to tune in to said game. I think it will break records, shatter records even. So again, I can't wait for that. But talking about the Rookie of the Year race between Clark and Reese, a couple weeks ago, I stated that the two-woman race is very close, that it's neck and neck, that if today the season ended then, it would be a toss-up between the two, pretty much. As of right now, Caitlin Clark has pretty much wrapped this award up. I believe she's the clear favorite. She's distanced herself enough to become the clear favorite, and when the season's over, she will rightfully win said award. Now, when I say that, I am not crapping on Angel Reese. I'm not crapping on her talent as a basketball player, and I do believe that she has a ton of potential to be an all WNBA talent in the near future. I repeat, just because I am picking Caitlin Clark to win Rookie of the Year doesn't mean I don't think Angel Reese is good at basketball. That's stupid. That is really, really dumb. When people say that and have their reasons, very valid reasons to why they have Clark as the Rookie of the Year, they're not crapping on Angel Reese in her basketball talents. I know all the trolls, all the haters, they dislike her and don't believe that she doesn't deserve to have any type of position in said race. But again, just because I have Caitlin Clark winning the Rookie of the Year does not mean I think Angel Reese can't hoop. That's completely false. I think she's a phenomenal player, and she's going to get even better as the years go on. Hey, if you throw Angel Reese into the majority of rookie classes throughout WNBA history, she would be the clear favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, for her and for other rookies like Rakia Jackson, who's having a great year too, Aaliyah Edwards having a great year, they were all drafted in the same year as a generational talent in Caitlin Clark. It's unfortunate, but simply it is what it is. And just to magnify how great Clark's been, especially in the month of July, I'll just read off these statistics real quick: 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and she's averaging 12.5 assists per game in the month of July. And I might add, those 12.5 assists is the most in a month in league history. That's how great she's been. And you add that along with very solid efficiency, especially for being a rookie as well. And to go along with the records, all-time leader in consecutive point assist double doubles in rookie season, all-time leader in double doubles by a rookie guard, the first rookie to record a triple double. And I might add that was against the best team in the league in the New York Liberty. Broke the single game assist record against the Dallas Wings this Wednesday, and was the youngest player to record a double double with points and assists in back to back games. So she's breaking all these records. She's already a borderline top three guard in this entire league, maybe even the best guard. I think currently, right now, for that position, best in the league, it's between her and Sabrina Ionescu. Hey, either or, you can't go wrong with either. She's doing all this stuff, being the clear best facilitator and best player on her team who will likely make the playoffs. She's doing all these great things while having the most pressure by far for a female basketball player in history, while with their overall game not having an in between one, uh, being very limited when it comes to the mid range game, having all these turnovers, and just basically not having any time to prepare for the professional league. She didn't have a full offseason to adjust her game, make any improvements at all. She just came straight into the league from college, and already she is probably a top 15 borderline player in the WNBA right now. That's insane. This is what we are seeing out of Caitlin Clark right now in this league, and she's played like around 20 games in her rookie year so far, and she's shown the world, the league, the fans enough tape to where she is going to be an all-time great already. Again, with all the pressure being put on her, all the coverage being put on her, all the extracurriculars, to contribute the way she has been for a rookie. These crazy numbers. I have never seen any WNBA player put up 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 13 assists per game in a long span. It's unheard of. And excuse me. And so, yes, she should be the clear favorite to win the award. I think the media, their consensus, are realizing that now. Obviously, the betting odds realize that. They have been doing that for this entire year. And straight up, it's the right decision to give her Rookie of the Year. She's been the clear best rookie throughout this entire season. And I expect that to happen with her getting an extra month off and the Fever adjusting more and more as a team, gelling with each other. I think the Rookie of the Year is hers to lose. And I don't think she's letting that go, barring any injury or other outside politics. It's over. Angel, she put up a great fight. Stat padding or not, she has the all-time consecutive double-double record. You can't take that away from her. But again, we're comparing the two's rookie seasons, and you're comparing Clark to the entire field when it comes to her rookie class. It's night and day. I'm sorry, but it's night and day. And speaking on Clark, obviously I've talked about the rookie of the year these past few minutes, but she has to be in all the WNBA talks. Has to. 26 and 13 with a good, well, less than half the season to go. Again, she is already a top three guard in this league, bare minimum. She has to be in the all WNBA, one of the all WNBA teams come the end of the season. Has to. And man, just moving on from that, I've had a lot of fun talking, debating about topics with the WNBA, all the buzz, media attention going on. It's been phenomenal to see. And I've been watching this league for a long time. I've said that already, but to any new people watching this that haven't seen my face before, I've been a big fan of the WNBA every summer, dating back to when I was little. I try to watch all the national TV games on ESPN whenever I had time to do so. And just seeing this year the amount of growth, amount of buzz in such a short time span, it's incredible to watch. As of right now, I think the WNBA is the premier summer sport, or it's really close. It's one of the premier summer sports. I understand the MLB is the more popular league when it comes to comparing them and the WNBA. But when it comes to the personalities in the WNBA, the accessibility, with basketball as a whole, that helps it a lot. Just all those different factors. I think with what we're seeing right now and what could possibly happen in these next few years, especially when you have new newer blood coming in, like a Pace Beckers from UConn, like a Juju Watkins, Flajee Johnson from LSU. The WNBA is gonna keep rising. They're gonna get more media buzz. They're gonna get more talent, more young talent that my generation relates to. It is going to continue to be one of the premier sports, one of the premier sources of entertainment, maybe even best form of entertainment for the summertime in the next few years to come. I think that's the reality for it, and it's showing for sure. I mean, just looking at my notes here, there was a report from the Athletic earlier this week that said that the WNBA's new media deal will pay the league 2.2 billion over the next 11 years. So to put that in perspective, that is an average of 200 million per season. And to compare, the league currently right now is making 60 million. That is more than a 300% increase. So all this money is being poured into the league now. Again, all the fresh young talent is going to come into this league as the years go by. I think the coverage is going to get more greater. The eyeballs are going to get even larger. Looking at these top players, it's going to be crazy. And as a fan of this league and women's basketball, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it, and I hope it continues. I really and truly do. And with the game that's going to happen tomorrow, that's just going to keep fueling the fire. And I really hope it's going to be a great game, especially for all the new eyes watching that. And I believe it's going to be great. I truly do. And I hope that Clark and Reese, I know they're rookies, but I hope they somehow have a big statement against these Olympic players, against people like Asa Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, them duking it out and potentially winning it while balling their asses off would be a phenomenal sight to see, and would definitely bring more eyes to the sport. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy. It's really crazy. I'm just sad that we're gonna have like a month without it because it's been so fun to just talk and like watch all these games. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, though. You know. Eh. All right. Next topic, we are going to talk about Russell Westbrook's recent signing with the Denver Nuggets. And just to pull up these notes, excuse me. The Clippers and Jazz agreed to a sign and trade deal involving Russell Westbrook, according to ESPN. Obviously, Utah waived him and bought out his contract, the remainder of it. I believe it was a 1 year deal. I believe it was a 1 year. As a as part of the trade, the Clippers also received done from the Jazz as well, as they agreed to a 3 year, $17 million contract. Let's talk about Russ and what this means for this Denver team. Obviously, when you compare Russ to Reggie Jackson in that backup point guard role as a six man, it's an obvious improvement, an obvious upgrade. When you're talking about a guy like Russ, he's gonna push the pace. He's gonna ball his ass off, be passionate every night, show aggressiveness, do the dirty work, hustle, get key rebounds, play make. And when you have a team like Denver, who before this signing, they were lacking in competent ball handlers, guys who you can trust to play make for the rest of the team. Obviously, you had Jamal and Jokic, and outside that, you had basically no playmaking or ball handling when it came to your guard and wing players. You add a guy like Russ, and if he fully commits to his role as a six man, which he has shown during his time with the Clippers, I think this is a very good deal for Denver moving forward. When it comes to the playoffs, I have a lot of major concerns because his biggest weakness, Russ, as we've seen in these past few seasons, in a lesser role, when the shot's not falling, which that's never been a part of his career, he's never been a good shooter at all. He's basically unplayable. And with what we saw in the first round series versus Dallas this past year, it was the same thing. Dallas, they were leaving Russ wide open in the corner, not focusing on him at all on the perimeter, uh, zoning in on Paul George and James Harden, limiting their abilities to score the basketball and set up for others. And as a result, Russ had an abysmal first round against Dallas, the whole series. Got limited game time. I'm pulling up the stats right now. Game 3, 0 for 7 from the field. Game 4, 2 of 8. Game 5, 2 of 11. And then game 6 to close out, 2 for 7 from the field. And he only played 9 games in that game 6 where he lost. A lot of those shots were jumpers, as I do recall. And when you have a guy like Russ and you put him on a team such like Denver, opposing teams, they're going to focus way more on Jamal and Jokic if Russ is on the floor. And that obviously limits his overall impact. And because of that, I still have a lot of doubts when it comes to this signing and seeing how like potentially it will play out in a playoff scenario. But going back to the signing as a whole, I think it's a very low risk, high reward move. Again, bringing in a high energy guy in Russ, who is very capable of running an offense, setting up his teammates getting easier looks, and for Denver, replacing Reggie Jackson for Westbrook is a no-brainer in this part of the offseason. Now, do I think this will move the needle for Denver when it comes to being serious contenders next season? No, I still don't. Currently, right now, when it comes to the West in its hierarchy, I believe that OKC and Minnesota are two clear better teams than Denver right now. I think you can seriously consider to put Dallas, the Mavericks, with those two teams when it comes to legit top contenders out of the Western Conference above Denver. So yes, Russ was a great move, low cost, but does it move the needle? I say no. I think you look at Denver, there's a lot of boom or bust potential when it comes to this team. Obviously, you have the three young wings in Christian Brown, who's going to replace KCP in that starting lineup as the starting shooting guard, and also with Julian Strawther and I'm blinking on his name, Peyton Watson. Sorry about that. As well off the bench, their big depth also scares me too. Dario Saric is a fine signing. It was a fine pickup, but if you're relying on him to be your backup big, especially when you want to make a deep playoff run, that's very scary to me. He has his limitations, especially as a defender. And I truly do see there being a chance where Jokic is going to have to play these heavy minutes, not sit on the bench, which that was the biggest reason why they lost that game 7 versus Minnesota. He didn't sit on the bench, and because of that, obviously he was less effective. Denver's offense as a whole was less effective. They're making sloppy turnovers, very poor shot selection, lackadaisical effort on both ends of the ball, and because of that, they blew that 20-point lead at home in a game 7, and ultimately the Wolves won the series. So I still have a lot of doubts about that, and those reasons I just mentioned are why I don't really take the Nuggets seriously as a title contender, even with this Russ signing. I still hope Russ has another series chance of making it to the finals and potentially winning a ring because that's been one of my guys for a very long time. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA since I've watched basketball for 14, 13 years now. So rooting for the best, obviously being, in Colorado as a native, hoping for the best, but hey, we'll see how it goes. All right. Damn, excuse me. A little bit of burp. Let me adjust myself in the chair. All right. Next segment, we are going to move to the NFL and we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk and his recent trade request. Yes, so after a long offseason filled with contract negotiations, Aiyuk has decided to put in a request for a trade. As of right now, according to ESPN, the Niners have been very resistant when it comes to trading Aiyuk, as they do believe that they could get a long-term extension with the wide receiver in the near future. I don't think he's getting traded. On his last year, they can use the franchise tag on him. I think when it comes to their offense and Ayuk's impact, it's it's great. It's very significant. With Ayuk, you have one of the best route runners in the entire league, a guy that can get huge chunks in open space. Very efficient with the amount of targets he's been getting as well. Just an overall sound player. And I truly believe that he is already in the elite tier of wide receivers. Not alongside the Justin Jeffersons, the AJ Browns, Tyreek Hills, obviously. But when it comes to being alongside in Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he really deserves to be in those conversations. And I think for people who undervalued him over this past year, he's shown enough tape to where they're not saying that anymore. And talking about the Niners even more, obviously, when it comes to the current receiving core, Dibo, while Dibo Samuel is still one of the more explosive wide receivers in the entire league, he's not true X. That's not his game. He's a zone beater. He's a guy that can kill you in open space. But when it comes to his route tree and his overall separation as a receiver, it's not there. And when you take away a guy like Aiyuk, the passing game is not going to be as great. And I understand they have Samuel, like I mentioned, and George Kittle being amongst those weapons uh, in the passing game alongside Christian McCaffrey, who's the best receiving back in the entire league. But again, if you do miss Aiyuk and if you do trade him, that X receiver, that great separator, a consistent threat when it comes to the three levels of the field, deep game, middle of the field, stuff like that. I just think him being so valuable to this offensive unit, the Niners understand that they can't let that man go. And if they want to be back as top contenders, if they want to go back to the Super Bowl again, Ike is going to be in those plans. Has to 100%. Jawan Jennings, he's a great wide receiver for. He's been solid in his role for the past few years now. He's not gonna give you that same impact. Ricky Pearsall, he's very promising. Showed a lot of good signs of Florida. Not the same level of impact like a Brandon Aiyuk. You're not gonna match the same level of production that Brandon Aiyuk gives to your football team. So, like I said before, the Niners understand that, and it's gonna happen the same way. This scenario, like it happened to Dibo a couple seasons back when he requested a trade, and the Niners ultimately gave him his contract extension down the line. I think it's going to be the same thing that happens here with Brandon Aiyuk. Now, moving on to a mini segment, a segment within the segment, we're going to hypothetically discuss a little bit. We're going to hypothetically put Aiyuk in a situation where the Niners do accept his request and potentially moves to the team. And right now, I have three teams. The top three teams where I think if he were to get traded, he would be great a great fit on. Starting with number 3, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. I understand with them getting Jim Harbaugh as the new head coach, him bringing in Greg Roman as a new offensive coordinator in that coaching staff, him getting Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, both from Baltimore, to this Chargers team. They want to run the ball. They want to be a run-first team. But when it comes to their wide receiver room, it is god-awful. It is the worst wide receiver room in this entire league. And I'm just going to read off the names on this depth chart. Top 6 wide receivers right now for the Chargers. Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, Darius Davis, Brendan Rice, and DJ Chark. That is atrocious. That is abysmal. And when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who is arguably top 5 in this position. You need to put weapons around this man. And for LA, they have 20 mil in cap space. They can spend a little bit, and why not spend that extra cash on a borderline elite wide receiver in Brandon Aiyuk, who can get open consistently, win within any coverage within the majority of top corners in this entire league, and give Justin Herbert an elite weapon to build off of and make this offense more explosive. Chargers are in a rebuilding phase. But when you have a guy like Justin Herbert who can make fireworks with anybody, why not pair him with one of the best receivers in the league when you have the chance to? I think that would be a great fit. Moving on to the top 2, in second, I have the New England Patriots. With New England, they have the most cap space in the entire league with 40 mil available. Drake May drafted him with the second overall pick. Oh no, excuse me. Daniels was the second overall pick. May was the third. My fault on that. But with Drake May, he's on his rookie deal. When it comes to their current receiver room, it's very poor, very mediocre. Right now, Pop Douglas is their best receiver on the depth chart. I like Pop Douglas, but as a wide receiver 1, you're not going anywhere with Pop Douglas as your best receiver. And moving down the line, you got Kenny Bourne, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, 2 rookies he just drafted, Jalen Reagor, KJ Osborne. A lot of guys in that room. KJ Osborne too. A lot of guys in that room. But there's not a lot of weapons in that unit to where you can consider it to be an explosive unit, where you can consider it to be a good unit as a whole. And with Aiyuk to bring in, again, a borderline elite wide receiver, 4 rookie quarterback in Drake May, make his life in the NFL a lot more easier, I think it would be too good to pass up. And if the Patriots want to go back towards being a respectable franchise within the league, I think that would be a great move for them if they had the opportunity to do it. And to round out this list, we have the Commanders, the Washington Commanders at number 1. I think I can't talk about this team without mentioning the connection he already has with Jalen Daniels, their new quarterback. Obviously, they played together at Arizona State. There was a video that dropped earlier this offseason where Daniels was on the phone with Aiyuk at his crib, if I do remember. And Aiyuk was talking to him on the phone. He was talking about the Niners don't want me anymore. He was talking about he expressed interest in going to the Commanders as well. And for him, I completely see why he wants to go there if he had a chance. I mean, they have the cap space in draft picks to acquire him. They have $37 million in cap. Their wide receiver core, as of right now, it's not too horrible. You obviously have Terry McLaurin leading the way, Jahan Dodson, who I believe will have a bounce back year with Cliff Kingsbury as a new OC. But that core, as of right now, it lacks consistent separation and route running. And with Aiyuk, as I've said many times before, those are 2 of his best traits, along with being very explosive as another deep threat. And you add that alongside Terry McLaurin and Cliff Kingsbury's scheme as the OC, having the scheme of air raid, taking a ton of deep shots, being vertical down the field. You add Aiyuk to that offense. Again, Aiyuk and McLaurin, they could potentially be a top 5 wide receiver duo in the entire league. And you add that alongside Jalen Daniels, who showed you a lot of dynamics as a dual threat during his time at LSU. I think that would lead to a ton of explosiveness, a ton of fireworks, and would definitely be one of the more exciting offensive units in the entire league heading to next season. So if I had the chance to see Aiyuk go to any of these teams, the Commanders would be a no-brainer. I think it would be too perfect to pass up. The fit is too perfect, and as a result, the Commanders will get even better as a team and would be more respected within the division and in the NFC as a whole. But man, yeah, we'll have to see though. Again, do I think Ayuk will get traded? No, but hey, just some theories I had in my head. So glad to talk to y'all about that. Moving on to our last segment, we're going to go back to the NBA. And with this segment, we are going to dive into superstar tier rankings. Now, like any other tier rankings before, I got names on here on a list. We can go through said names and we'll put them in some tiers. And right now, I have 5 tiers right now from best to worst. I'll name them: best in the world, clear number 1, borderline number 2, and superstar potential. Again, I got around 25 names, and I already put some names down on these tiers already. And for superstar potential, the only tier I've touched so far, I got 4 names on here: Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, and LaMelo Ball are the 4 players right now I think have superstar potential. And when it came down to putting names in this tier, I think for me it was to show love to players who haven't really shown enough production at a high level compared to guys like Shea when he was starting up. Tatum haven't had the success really, but I listed guys who had the opportunity to be the number 1 or a high level number 2, but up borderline number 1 on a winning roster, a potential championship winning roster. And for those 4, I put those on here. And I do see a future where all 4 of them can become superstars in this league. All right. With that out the way, let's get into the actual list. And to start off, I have Joel Embiid. Now, I think Joel Embiid's status in the current top 10, I think people more and more are pushing him outside that top 5. And I do believe, because with his injury history and his really, really crappy playoff history, it's very justified. But I'm going to still put Embiid in the superstar tier. Well, clearly, but not in the best in the world tier, but as a clear number 1. And I think when you look at Embiid, when he's completely healthy, and I understand that that's not very common, but when he's absolutely healthy, he is one of the most impactful players in the entire NBA. And with what we saw with Philly this past season, when Embiid was out, the Sixers, I know Tyrese Maxey, he was balling his ass off. He had a career year. But besides that, the Sixers without Joel Embiid, they were not even a playing team. And we saw that against the Knicks as well too in the first round. Whenever Embiid was off the floor, they got completely outmatched by the Knicks. And with what Embiid gives you as an offensive talent, which he's one of the greatest offensive bigs this league has ever seen, and defensively being so impactful as a shot blocker, as a roamer around the paint, you put two and two together, Embiid is still an elite player in this league. He's still one of one. Again, I can't put him in that best in the world tier because with his availability issues, his playoff struggles, which we still haven't seen an iconic series from him, and he's pushing 30, but he's still a very great player. And also, it's kind of a little tangent, but when it comes to Embiid playing on Team USA, look, the man has been in the States half of his entire life. He came in his mid late teens from Cameroon, and he went to college in the States. He's played his entire professional career in the States, got his U.S. citizenship. Why can't the man play on Team USA? I know y'all hate him as a player. I understand that. But I promise y'all do not give a fuck about Cameroon or France. Y'all want to put this man down. Y'all want to keep putting this man down. I understand in the friendlies, he's not been good at all, and he needs to be better, absolutely. But when it comes to him making his choice to play for Team USA in these Olympics, that's completely fair. And we gotta stop shitting on this man for no reason. Don't we want the best talent to play for the best country when it comes to basketball? That makes no sense to me. Why don't you want a guy like Embiid hypothetically on your roster? That's just stupid. But people got hate in their heart. People, they want to see these high talented players fall and clown them for it. And sure, it just is what it is at this point, man. You just gotta take it in for what it is. So it's unfortunate, but I'm rooting for Embiid, and I hope him alongside the U.S. Obviously, they win gold once again in France. Just want to get that off my chest. It's been on my mind for the past few weeks now. But that aside, we're gonna go down this list. Jokic, obviously best in the world. I mean, what? Yeah, three MVPs the past 4 years. No brainer there. Best in the world, obviously. Giannis, best in the world. I've said this previously in the past episode, this past month, that he's been low-key disrespected over these recent years. But when it's completely healthy, Giannis is a borderline top 2 player in this entire league. When you look at his impact offensively, especially defensively for the Milwaukee team. All right. Just got to update the list. Next player, I have LeBron. This is kind of... You can't put him in borderline LeBron. You just can't. He's not the best in the world anymore. And I think it's because of his age. So I obviously can't put him alongside Jokic, Giannis, even guys like Luka. But I think with his production in the tape, he's still obviously a clear number one in this league on a championship winning team. So I'm going to put LeBron in this tier and keep it at that. Hey man, 40 years old and you're still being in this convos. That's insane longevity, man. It's insane. 40 years old and you're still being firmly put in top 10 convos. Maybe even top 5. People still got LeBron in their top 5. Man, for you to be a consistent 20, 27, 28 points per night. Well, yeah, 26, 27, 26, 27 points per night, 7 rebounds, 8 assists at damn near 40 years old. We have never seen this before in NBA history. Not even Kareem did it. By the time he was like LeBron's age, he slowed down massively. It's stupid, man. Like we will never see this level of production again from an NBA player. Never. We will never see this level of production again. And shoot, we're just all witnessing it, man. And I hope it never ends because it's been amazing to witness. Man, the dude's bro, he's the GOAT for a reason. He is the GOAT for a reason. And the cat's out the bag. I know the GOAT debate it's been massively played out, obviously these past few years, but his longevity, LeBron's longevity, is one of the biggest reasons why I've changed my thoughts on who I consider to be the GOAT. And with that being said, I firmly have LeBron as the greatest player in NBA history because of that reason and many more. But that's one of the biggest things why. The dude's insane, man. Let's see. All right, we got 4 down. Heading to the 5th one. I have Kevin Durant next up. I can't put him in borderline, so I'm going to put him in clear number 1. Obviously, the early first round exits these last few years have diminished his status as a top 5 player, but he's still firmly in the top 10. I mean, he's still an elite offensive weapon, can elevate a team on any given night, and like it's Kevin Durant, man. A lot of people don't give that man enough credit for bouncing back from that Achilles injury he suffered in the finals versus Toronto. And I vividly remember watching that happen and just the aftermath, the discourse that was going on. And people were saying that, is he ever going to be the same player again? Is he ever going to, be as productive like he was before he suffered the injury? And to come back after that and to still be firmly a top 5, top 10 player in the whole world, it's remarkable. And for KD's legacy, obviously you had the chokes with OKC, the 3-1 blown lead to Golden State, and then signing to the Ops the offseason after, winning those chips with the Warriors, winning those Finals MVPs. I think when it comes to KD's legacy, him coming back from an Achilles injury, which historically has ruined players like a Dominique Wilkins, like DeMarcus Cousins, for him to come back from such a significant injury and still be an elite weapon, I think, to me, that's the biggest mark on his legacy. That's the biggest indicator of his greatness and him being such a historical talent. I I just want people to realize that part of his career even more. I don't think people will because of his decisions, the move to Golden State. But it was the case. It is what it is, though. Unfortunately, ironic. I have his former teammate in Golden State, Steph, next. Same as LeBron, I can't put him in best in the world anymore due to his age and his signs of slowing down. But still, he can carry a team for a good portion of the season to stay afloat, and we've seen that with Golden State these past couple seasons recently, and it's gonna be the same thing, heck, even more next season as well with the departure of Clay. That roster is really bad, but yeah, for Steph, he's still firmly a premier superstar in this league, so I'm gonna put him in the clear number one category. I said category tier. All right, next one we have SGA, Shea Gildish Alexander. I can't say he's best in the world, but he's a clear number one. And with SGA, last year when we had a debate, it was me and Matt, Owen, and then Danny. I believe Tyler was on there too. But all this, we had a discussion about SGA, and I said that SGA wasn't a true superstar in the league. And I wasn't trying to diss SGA, his basketball ability. I just said that he doesn't have the resume. He doesn't have the longevity of playing such high level basketball for an extended period of time. But with this year, with the Thunder, obviously they finished top four. No, I said top four. They finished as the one seed in the West. They went around. SGA was phenomenal that entire postseason. Very efficient too. Became an elite postseason performer off that one year. It just all the success, him having as great of a year he had, along with him getting first team All NBA the season prior, that just gave me enough reasons to put this man as a true superstar in this league. And it's just scary how fluid his offensive game is. Him being able to get to his open spots so consistently, being the player with the tightest handle, tightest dribble in the entire league, being such an elite shot creator. It, he's incredible. The man's incredible. He's gonna be the main reason why OKC win a chip if they do win a chip in these next few years. And I can't wait for it. The man's fun to watch, and just to see his development and grow overall as a player has been exciting to see as a fan. So again, I put Shea in the clear number one tier. Next player on the list, I have Jason Tatum, and I'm going to put him in the clear number one tier for his offensive inconsistencies as a superstar. I can't put him in that best of the world tier. I don't think that'll change soon, but he's still a clear top five player in this league. I think arguably the best two-way player in the NBA right now. just the impact he gives to you every night, whether it's rebounding, playmaking for his position, scoring, defending on all faces of the court. He's such a great all-around player. He's a jack of all trades type of guy. He's not a master really in any aspect of the game, but he does so many things in the sport so well to where all that equates to him being such an elite talent. The efficiency, especially with the shot creation, albeit in a Missoula schemed offense, it needs work, and we've seen that in the finals especially. But I just don't see where you have 5 players in this league right now that are currently better than Jason Tatum. I just really don't. 3 straight first team All NBAs, now won the chip, a consistent playoff performer, proven winner. At worst, he's going to take your team to a conference finals appearance with a fully healthy squad. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what people see. It's just hate. It's just hate, really. But we move though. We move. Next one, I have Luka, and I'll put him in the best in the world. Just from his offensive ability alone, him being such a threat as an offensive engine, I think that equates towards him being in that tier alongside Jokic and Giannis. Obviously, this defense, which did take a massive improvement this season from years past in his career, but obviously in the finals, his deficiencies really bit him and the rest of that Dallas team in the ass. But you put that aside, and Luka, as of right now, is in that conversation of firmly being a top 3 player in this league right now. Next player, I have Anthony Davis. Borderline. I think over his career, when you look at obviously his beginnings with New Orleans, I just think with his overall motor and the record he showed, especially with his injury history, I don't think that moves him to be a clear number 1 on a championship winning team. But he's still on that edge. I still have to put him on that edge just because of his overall impact defensively. One of the best defensive bigs this past decade by far, and since this century overall. Great offensive talent, dominant presence. Obviously, was a massive contributor on that championship winning team in the bubble in 2020. Probably should have won Finals MVP instead of LeBron, but yeah, I think borderline is a fine tier for Anthony Davis. Next one, Trae Young, and I gotta put this man in borderline still. I'm sorry, man. Like, Trae Young is easily the most overhated player in the entire league. Look, the man's cocky, right? But when it comes to his offensive ability, he's still one of the better players in that regard. And for him to still make this Hawks team somewhat competitive over the past few seasons, after obviously they made that Eastern Conference Finals run in 2021, being able to almost single-handedly make this Hawks team somewhat click with the amount of deficiencies they have across the board, with them being a consistently horrible defensive team, one of the worst defensive units in this entire league the past few years. For him to still be such an elite talent in such a situation that he's been given has been remarkable. And I wish more people would have gave him his props, but just because of how he got into the league, him being given the label as a cocky player, a diva, that's going to hinder him from getting the respect he truly deserves. But if you truly know basketball, you understand the sheer amount of impact and overall talent Trae Young brings to his team on the basketball court every night. Next one, I have Kyrie. I'm not going to go too deep into this one. He's a clear number two. Never been near those superstar convos, but he's stamped himself in NBA history as one of the greatest not Batman's, one of the greatest Robins of all time, one of the greatest second options of all time. So I'm gonna give him his props on that. Had a phenomenal year at Dallas, was locked in, was a key contributor towards them making it to the finals this year, and he will still be a vocal point for Dallas making another deep playoff run next year as well. So I think number two, that tier is a very good choice for Kyrie in this list. Next one, we have Victor Wembanyama. I know the criteria I set for Shea kind of contradicts my point, but I'm gonna put Wemby in borderline already. I just think with the trades, the amount of tape we've seen from Wemby in his rookie year, his sheer impact on the defensive end, I think he has already proven himself to be among those elite players in the league. I mean, he's that great. The efficiency, it does need a lot of work, but when it comes down to it, putting up 21, 11, 4 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks, led the league in blocks as a rookie with less than 30 minutes a game on one of the worst rosters in the entire league. One rookie of the year, obviously, finished second in DPOY, first team all defense. This dude is already a borderline top 15, top 20 talent in the entire league. And he's only been in the league for one singular year. One singular year. 21 and 11 is the floor for this man. You put competent pieces around Wemby, it is going to be a fucking nightmare. Yikes, man. Bro, it is going to be scary. For the rest of the league, in the West especially, you have about 2-3 years to get your chips before this demon wrecks the entire league, bro. It is going to be a massive problem. It's going to be over. This dude, bro, just the sheer thought of thinking about his ceiling as a player should scare everybody, man. It's nasty. It's nasty. But I'm gonna put Wemby. I'm gonna put Wemby in the borderline tier and leave it at that. I think that's fine. Jalen Brunson, next player. I'm gonna put him in the borderline tier as well. Just off his postseason run, not just this year, but in 2022, the last 2 years being such an elite performer in the playoffs. carrying his team with the amount of injuries they've suffered, with the limitations um, at, with their offense as a whole. For him being a 6'1" guard and being in a defensive oriented scheme as a whole, to come out consistently and carry this team on the offensive end without Julius Randle, the dude's phenomenal. He's great. If you have Brunson right now being a top three point guard, top three, top four point guard, above guys like Trey, I don't blame you at all. I don't want to admit that to Matt because he loves the man, but I don't blame you at all for putting him above guys like that. But just thinking about what he's done these past 2-3 seasons, even dating his time back to Dallas, that run he had when they made the Western Conference Finals, it's been remarkable. Man, and if only he was taller, because if he was taller, just like Trey too as well, we could say the same exact thing about Trey. You would have them potentially being in the proven superstar tier as the clear number one. I don't see it just because of their height alone, but hey, those two are very exciting, man. They're very exciting players. Next one, I have Jaylen Brown. I'm gonna say this: if you have Jaylen Brown above Jason Tatum on an NBA list, like best players in the league list, one, you'd have to think Jaylen Brown is a clear top 10 player in the entire league, because Jason Tatum obviously is a top 10 talent. And two, you'd have to think Jaylen Brown is a bona fide superstar, which obviously for me, I don't think he's either of those things. The man deserved to win Finals MVP. He had his best year last season, being fully committed on the defensive end, which I greatly respect him for that, just because of the poor series he had versus Miami in the conference finals. For you to bounce back a year later, win Finals MVP, have all the doubters shit on you for getting the amount of money he got, and for you to prove all of them wrong within a year, was phenomenal on JB's behalf. But when it comes down to it, if I started a team from scratch and I had the opportunity to have Jaylen Brown as my franchise player, my number one option, would I do that? No, I just think the limitations he has as an offensive player still just impacting the rest of his teammates as a whole, especially when it comes to his playmaking, although it greatly improved this past year. I just don't think it's enough for him to prove that he's a true number one option in the NBA, and especially put him in that superstar category, unfortunately. Yeah, hey man. Also with the summer league thing, and him talking about Bronny, that was so stupid. People getting mad at him for talking about Bronny as a pro. Like, bro, he didn't say anything bad. Like, well, it wasn't even dirty macking to I guess his girlfriend now, Angel Reese on the sideline, bro. He wasn't dirty macking to his girlfriend Kaja Garnerzik and Angel Reese about Bronny. Like, that's stupid. I think he had enough care and empathy in his heart to root for the kids still, but the fact that that even became a major story was ridiculous. Like, it's stupid. He didn't say anything wrong, but hey, if you caught if you caught live players off guard and recorded them out of the blue, and they would just watch Bronny, although he did have in the last couple games he's been playing much better. But if you put a camera like in an out of sight camera on some NBA players as they were talking about Bronny and watching him play, they would share the same sentiment as Jaylen Brown. They would talk about the same thing. It would be the same thing. Like simple. Clearly. I don't know. It's weird. Um Down the line, Tyrese Halliburton. Hey man, those superstar talks are crazy to start this year off. From the beginning of the year to the in-season tournament final, those superstar combos were crazy. But for Halliburton, I'm gonna put him as a number 2 option in that tier. His aggressiveness as a player, and we saw that massively hinder him in the playoffs, especially in the Knicks series. Yeah, the dude has to learn to be aggressive and know when to empty the clip, because when you're the talent, supposed franchise talent, you can't go an entire game shooting less than 10 shots, shooting 6, 7, 8 shots the entire game, shooting only 2 shots for the second half. You can't do that. And while I do respect Hallie for being such a great offensive engine that he is, being one of the greatest facilitators in the league right now, despite his lack of aggressiveness, his IQ and ability to decipher coverages, whenever he touched the ball and he was making plays with his vision, almost every single look provided by Halliburton was a clear shot, was an open look for one of his teammates. But when it comes down to it, when you have to be a superstar in this league, you gotta know when to empty the clip. And Halliburton has not learned that aspect yet. He needs to add that arsenal to his game. His aggressiveness needs to massively change if the Pacers still want to be a threat in the Eastern Conference. Next one, I have Devin Booker, and I'm going to put him in the borderline tier. Hey, Book, such a great offensive talent, but the biggest thing that has hindered him from getting put into that true tier of superstar in the league is his ability to impact the game outside of scoring. And over his career, when the shot hasn't fallen, he struggles with that. And he's shown to be a capable playmaker over his career, especially recently. But as a whole, he has very minimal impact when it comes to his game outside of scoring. And that's what hinders him from being a true superstar, in my opinion. Next player, I have Anthony Edwards. I get it. The personality, he's probably the biggest personality in this entire league right now. Well, when it comes to all the young players, he blew up from the deep run Minnesota had this year. They took down the Nuggets, obviously, in the first round. They beat the shit out of Phoenix. Look, man, when it comes to superstars, true superstars in this league, I just don't see Anthony Edwards being there yet. And when it comes to his game, his playmaking is his biggest weakness. Just to set up teammates, know how to read coverages, make the cross court pass when the defenses are sending most of their help towards you. While I do believe he's massively improved in that aspect, especially this past season, he still has a ton of work to do when it comes to being a playmaker. And when you add the fact he showed mass fatigue against the Mavs, was kind of a no-show in a lot of key moments throughout that Western Conference Finals versus Dallas, which is very disappointing from him. Again, I love Ant. I hope he continues to improve because for the league, they massively need a guy like Anthony Edwards to continue to be great and to be on the upper echelon of NBA players. But as of right now, I can't crown him. I really can't crown him. Could that happen someday? Yeah, but as of right now, no, no. I really don't see that being a thing. Jamal Murray, I added his name for fun. Look, man, if you ever put that man in superstar convos for like 2, 3 postseason runs over his career with no all-star appearances, you're crazy. I'm gonna leave it at that. He's a clear number 2 in this league, and that's okay. You know, that's fine with being alongside a guy like Jokic. The chemistry is obviously there. Just the chemistry, the cohesiveness between them as a duo, just the amount of success, the amount of offensive production they've had over the past few years now has been phenomenal, has been great. But still, as an overall player, when it comes down to it, would you take at least 20 players over Jamal? I think you do. I really think you do. And I'm not shitting on Jamal as a player, but it is what it is when it comes to him as a player. So next one, Maxi, I'm gonna put him in number 2. I don't think he has superstar potential when it comes to him impacting other aspects of the game outside of scoring the ball, which he's a phenomenal scorer as it already is. But when it comes to playmaking, defense especially, he has a lot of things to work on those ends. But when it comes down to it, you put him alongside a guy like Embiid as a duo for that Philly team. So explosive. Just the amount of firepower those two have is incredible. So I'm not crapping on Maxi. I also think he's a very good player. He's going to be a great player for like how young he is for so many years down the line. But he's a number 2, which is okay. Let's see. We have 6 players left. Next one, Dame. I think it's a number 2 now. I think he is fully out of that superstar conversation. You can say the chemistry between him and Giannis was off. Obviously, the coaching changes that happened mid-season, the lack of cohesiveness within that Milwaukee team. But when it comes down to it, Damian Lillard is not the same player as he was in Portland. And the signs of him aging as a talent, they showed towards the end of his time with the Trailblazers this last season. And you fast forward to Milwaukee's first year, I think the cracks are becoming even more apparent. Him being limited as a scorer outside of the perimeter game, just shooting jump shots, not pressuring the rim really, has been disappointing to win this, and you already add the fact that he's always been an abysmal defender. No offense, he's been one of the worst defenders in the entire league. And you add the fact that his legs are aging, not really as impactful offensively outside of jump shooting, which he's one of the best shot creators, jump shooters in the entire league. But I just don't think you can win with Dame as a clear number one anymore. And who knows, Milwaukee, they can bounce back next year with a healthy Giannis, a healthy Dame, and potentially become a top four, top three seeded team in the East again. But Dame individually, as a superstar, his status has been revoked. Like, it's over. So next one, I have Jimmy Butler. I still have Jimmy Butler in borderline, even though that status continues to fade away. Look, man, I understand Jimmy is an elite playoff performer. We've seen that the past few years. But when it comes to being a true superstar in this league, you have to be available. And I'm going to read off the amount of games Jimmy Butler has been available since he's been in Miami: 58, 52, 57, 64, and most recently 60. He's 34, going to turn 35 in September, coming off a huge knee injury he suffered in the playing game versus Philly. Does he have it in his body anymore? Does he have enough left in the tank to carry a team when it matters the most? Not just in the playoffs, but an entire 82 game regular season. No, he cannot. He can't do that anymore. And I'm going to give him enough respect and the benefit of the doubt from his postseason performances, the runs he's had, to still put him in the conversation of being a superstar. But again, that's just continuing to fade away. Next one, I have Zion Williamson. I'm going to. It's so hard. It's so hard to try to like decipher this man. I'm gonna say borderline, and it's at the low end of borderline because talent alone and the amount of production we've seen from this man so far in his career, it warrants him enough to be put amongst the elite in this league. But the biggest Achilles heel he's had is his injury history, his availability, and his shit. Bro, we are in what, year 5, year 6 of this man's career, and we have not seen him in a single playoff game. The Pelicans have been in either a playing scenario or a playoff series for three seasons of Zion's career. He hasn't played a single important game. Well, a full one because he played against the Lakers, but obviously he got hurt in the middle of it and couldn't continue. But it's availability, and on his day, Zion is a borderline top 20 talent in the entire league. But his biggest weakness, I'm going to say it again, is his consistency to stay on the court when needed to. And you add alongside that his ability to defend. And that's been a massive issue with him over his career. He's shown a lot of lapses on that side of the ball, which for the amount of athleticism and the overall athletic profile he has, he's unacceptable on his behalf. But That's just what it is as a player when you talk about Zion. And hopefully that can change soon. But hey, man, we'll have to see. Um, shoot, three more. Next one, Kawhi. Let's talk about Kawhi. Yeah, I don't think he's in the superstar conversation anymore. I think he's number two. Put him in the second option tier. You gotta put him in the second option tier. 52 games played, 2020 season. Did not play the 2021 season due to an ACL injury. 2022, he played 52 regular season games, and last year he played 68. In the postseason, this year he only played 2 games out of the 6. The year before, 2 games out of the 6. Did not play the year prior in that playing game versus the Pelicans and the Timberwolves. Those 2 games, the man can't stay healthy at all. On his day, when he's 100%, he's an elite basketball player. But that's the issue. When he plays around 55 to 60 games in an NBA season, he breaks down. His body cannot handle it anymore. He's a ticking time bomb. Look, man, I love Kawhi. He's one of my favorite players in the entire league. But with his injury history and his limited availability, as we've seen from him in the past few seasons with the Clippers, I think this man really has to consider retirement. He's got to consider it, in my opinion, because if the body keeps on telling you, man, I can't do it anymore, I'm shutting down, you got to talk to yourself. And I understand he loves the game. You got to talk to yourself. How much do I have left? How much do I have left in the tank to give to this game? And I think Kawhi, as this year and down the line, as these months go by, I think he's going to have that conversation with himself. And I think he has to make a decision on that moving forward. Because, yes, Kawhi is a great player on his day, but that doesn't matter. And especially for the Clippers, when you want to compete for a championship, when you're contending for banners, it doesn't matter when your best player can't stay healthy for a full year. Yeah, man. It's unfortunate, man. Like, I love Kawhi. Again, one of my favorite players of all time, but these are the conversations that have to be made. Very uncomfortable convos that have to be made about this man. It's unfortunate. I'm gonna put these last two in one, and it's the Kings duo, De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. I'm gonna put them both in the second option tier. I think they're great players, great perennial all-star guys, but at the end of the day, I just don't see both of them being a clear number one option on a championship winning team, and especially on Sacramento. So I think the Kings are forever going to be good as long as those two play with each other at the same time. But when it comes to the long run, do I see them making any leaps at massive success, even with the DeRozan, them getting him in the trade recently? No, not at all. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. That is the final tier ranking. Yeah, that was a haul, but glad I did it, and I'm glad y'all stuck with me too. So salute to y'all if y'all still on here. Yeah, damn, it's 12:38. Oh my god, I gotta go, bro. Yeah, I'm not gonna be on here much longer. If you guys are still here watching this video, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We appreciate the love and support. Make sure to drop a like and share a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are currently at 928 total subscribers. We need to hit 1K before the summer's over. So let's hit that mark. Also, follow us on TikTok and YouTube, both with the handle at Lunch from the Base. And yeah, man, this is a little bit of a long one, but I'm glad I was able to record this before I went to bed tonight. And yeah, man, love y'all. Peace.